Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of the Give My Head podcast with the cast of Give My Head Piece. Well, three of the cast. Give My Head Piece. I'm Tim McGarry, joined by my comedy colleagues
Michael McDowell
and Damon Quinn.
A quick plug, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, Give My Head Piece is on tour next year. We are all over the place in March of next year, 2027.
2027, I know.
We're in the Grand Opera House for a week. The tickets are on sale now. Why are you telling me it's the middle of May, the sun's shining, why are you telling me about next year, Tim? Because tickets are on sale. Give Me a Headpiece at the Grand Opera House, goh.co.uk, and we're all over the place. And we're actually in Dublin. We're going to Vicar Street in Dublin. Tickets on sale now. Just Google Give Me a Headpiece at Vicar Street and Aiken Promotions. And apart from that, oh yes, God, I nearly forgot. I'm still on tour with my solo show, The Height of Nonsense, Tim McGarry's Height of Nonsense. I am in the Lyric Theatre on the 29th of August, so feel free to buy a couple of tickets for that. First one's sold out and it's going very, very well. So look out for Tim McGarry's Height of Nonsense. And that's all the plugs. We have nothing else to plug.
That's it.
But we have a very, very special guest, ladies and gentlemen. We are absolutely delighted because this man is an ex-lawyer and we're going to talk about law. We might have to, unfortunately, talk about his boring old books that he's you might have heard of him. Steve Cavanagh. He sold about 5 million books and they're translated into 40 languages, something like that, Steve. Steve, welcome to the Give My Head podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. Belfast man, Belfast writer, and huge crime writer. 5 million books. I don't want to ask a personal question, but you get a quid for each book? Would you get?
It depends.
It depends.
Most of the money goes to the publishers, of course.
Right, of course.
But I only get a small royalty.
You get a small royalty.
It's enough to keep me out of trouble.
Enough to mean you don't have to be a lawyer.
Enough to keep me out of the petty sessions. On a wet Tuesday afternoon. Yes.
See, I saved them too from being lawyers.
You saved them from being lawyers?
Yeah. We were all lawyers, but like you, we got better.
Well, I could be like a multi-billionaire now, you know.
Yeah, you probably would be.
Thanks, Damon.
Where are you from, Steve? You're a Belfast man.
Belfast, yeah.
Where, North Belfast?
No, Holy Lands.
Holy Lands?
Yeah, Holy Lands, Palestine Street. I was born in.
Seriously?
So yeah, and I lived all my life there, but basically until I grew up and went to university. But yeah, I was always in that area.
And then you didn't even have to move?
No. I didn't go to Queens.
Palestine Street.
Palestine Street, yeah.
To be telling Netanyahu that then.
No.
Judea and Samaria? So Palestine, you said you didn't go to Queens then?
No, I went to Dublin.
Did you go to Trinity?
No, unfortunately, I didn't. I have a history of going to terrible schools. So I went to Portobello College in Dublin, which is closed down now.
Right.
It's now.
What did you do?
Well, it didn't close because of me. Maybe not purely because of me. But no, I did law there.
Right.
I never thought of going to Trinity or anything like that.
Really?
No. So who would let me into Trinity College?
Well, I'm still scarred by the fact that I was accepted into Trinity and my dad wouldn't let me go.
Really?
Yeah.
You went to Queen's instead?
Yeah, well, he made the very cute observation that there was a fucking good university down there. Why would I go down the street? Why was I going to Dublin to spend his money?
Fair enough.
But, sliding doors and all that, I met them too, so...
You should have been in Trinity.
I know.
So when were you born, Steve? You're
76.
76, so we're all 64.
Yeah, another youngster.
Another youngster, but everybody we interview is young these days. And,
That's nice to be called young. And I'm
everybody we
50 this year.
interviewed they tell us the year they were born. We remember that year. I remember 1976 very well.
Not a great year, actually, in Northern Ireland.
No,
76,
Not
77.
great, no, but it was a good summer.
It was a very hot summer. Hot summer. So you went to you had a nice childhood, idyllic childhood, all good. Nothing to complain about.
Nothing happened at all in Belfast.
Nothing to suggest that this man's going to become a crime writer and is obsessed with death and murders and grisly things happening.
No, and nothing happening in Belfast. Of course, completely quiet and idyllic.
Yes.
And never any news. Nothing happened.
You still living in the Holy Land, but were you not getting tortured by students then? Did you
There wasn't that many students there. No, not at that time. there was a lot of sort of regular people that lived there.
Right, okay.
But it gradually sort of was overtaken by students and landlords, corrupt landlords making a buck.
Yes.
But it was all housing executive houses.
Right.
And very poor housing with outside toilets and everything. So, and then I think they sold them. Landlords were buying them up very cheaply and turned them into student accommodation. So gradually, most people moved out or moved somewhere else with a housing executive.
And what's the Cavanagh's background? Where do they come from, or where do they?
Oh well, it was all over the place. So Cavanagh is not my real name.
Oh right.
Mearns is my real name.
Mearns.
So, Mearns, yeah.
MEARNS.
ANS, yes.
Right. Mearns.
So when I started writing, I sort of needed a bit of separation between the day job as a lawyer and writing. So, because I write about a lawyer, and I thought, well, maybe have to have a different name. So, no, my dad was from Lattice Drive, and originally I think they were, Mearns is a former Scottish province, and on my mum's side, they were all sort of like an eel. Right. So it's a real mixed marriage type of thing.
God, somebody should do a sitcom about that.
I know.
That would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah. So you are basically Cal. Basically, you're
yes.
No, Billy the Peeler and Dimna. Yeah. Mixed marriage.
Yeah.
Huh? And did that inform your political views of life at all?
Yes, it basically put me off politics for life, and all of that. I just all thought it was, and in fairness, they all sort of thought it was nonsense, and it was all a bit much. So we tried to stay out of that as much as we could.
Well, you
just get on with things.
Yeah, and then you decided to go into the law, and you
kind of I went to Dublin.
Or did you fall into it like we kind of did?
I kind of did fall into it.
Kind of had no ambition to be a lawyer, but my mother said, "What are you going to be, a doctor, a lawyer, or a priest?"
No, my mother and father were just glad that I did anything, really, at all. They were just very happy that, he hasn't killed anybody and nobody's killed him.
Right.
Result.
He hasn't become a member of any organisation.
Exactly. So they had no ambitions for me at all. Maybe being a civil servant, they thought. My dad thought I would be a terrible plumber, because he was a plumber.
Was he a plumber?
He's a plumber.
He's something fucking useful.
I know, he's a plumber and a mechanic. So, and I couldn't do either of those. Right. So I thought, but I always liked reading. So I thought, well, some academic or some kind of thing here you can do. You can read, and you can write stuff. So the law, and I got accepted into doing law or business studies at this university.
Where'd you go to school, sorry?
I went to St Coleman's in Ballynahinch.
All right. Oh.
Terrible school. And left.
Is the school still there if they're listening?
They are still there. I'm sure they're a lot better now.
Oh, well, let it out. That's okay.
Right,
no, they're not better now.
Yes,
they're
a
not better
lot
now. They were
now.
terrible when Steve was
terrible
there, but they're fine now.
Fine now.
Did you get really bad reports, Steve?
That's what it is. I'm waiting. This is my opportunity now
revenge?
to get revenge.
You were, in fact, the school wasn't terrible. You were terrible.
I was terrible. And rarely there. So, no, I went there. And we lived in Belfast, but I got the bus to Ballynahinch, which was a pain in the hole.
Right. Why'd they send you there?
I think my mum and dad were thinking, we don't want this man to fall in with the wrong crowd, so we'll send him outside of Belfast down to the country.
Right.
And I fell in with the worst crowd down there. So, I went there, and then I did my A-levels in what was Biffy.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's now Belfast Metropolitan College.
Belfast Institute of Further and Higher Education.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that was good. And I liked that. I had a good tutor there, a guy called Henry Bell, who used to do he would do punditry for local elections. Henry Valentine Bell, and he taught me history, and he was brilliant. And that's where I thought, okay, I quite like going to lectures and stuff now. Yeah, I do like history, like yourself.
The three of us, we hate writing. Because it's a pain in the arse, as you know.
Yeah.
So we sit around in an attic in David Hull's office and kind of talk about, why Hitler invaded Russia, or who's your favourite Roman emperor.
It's much more interesting than writing.
More interesting.
It is.
So, but you genuinely into history.
I love history.
Yeah.
And I like anything with a story in it.
Yeah.
And that was what sort of got my way into sort of, as education's a way forward. There's stories in this, there's people involved, and there's decisions we made, and understanding how all that happened is fascinating. Yeah. And the ripple effect that it has.
Yeah. Which when you brings us to this. I mean, this is your latest book, is it?
Yes, Two Kinds of Stranger.
Right. This will be the first book of yours that I've read. So
right, very good.
I'm looking forward to
I've at
taking
least
this-
read two of them. Oh, do you want
Yes.
the bad news though?
Yes.
They were lying around in here and I got them for nothing.
All right, fair enough. That's it. Well, you are doing me no favours at all here.
You were in
kinds-
before and I got out.
Two Kinds of Stranger, ingenious twists and turns galore. Brilliant. There's all the. So I'm going to take that away with me. I'm going on holiday in a couple of weeks.
Great.
That's my reading material stuff.
Are you
Yes.
big readers?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm still one of the people who likes to read books. You know, like.
Right, good.
Yeah.
Who do you like?
I
Who do
read
you
a lot of
like?
history books.
Yeah, same
History?
with me.
Irish history books in
Lot of
particular.
history.
Just read a biography of Sean Lamass, the great Taoiseach. Read one about Rory O'Connor, the IRA man who was executed in
Yeah.
1932.
So you're on a beach reading about the famine.
100%. I'm in the Maldives with my shoes and socks on a beach reading about Oliver Cromwell. That's how I relax.
What got you into writing, and what was the attraction of that? Was that
It was
just-
what I was reading.
Yeah.
You know, there used to be a wee second-hand bookshop at the top of Jerusalem Street called the War and Want. And we would go in there, we would go to the library because we didn't have that much money. And I remember getting Sherlock Holmes books there and reading those. And that was my first sort of crime book and loved that. And then...
You're a Sherlock Holmes buff.
Yeah. And well, I love... And
Do you know Alex Kane,
No.
the journalist?
No.
Alex Kane. Oh, Alex Kane. He's
I've heard of him. I've not met him.
He's a political journalist. Sherlock Holmes obsessive.
Is he?
You know, 100% loves anything to do with Sherlock Holmes. Read everything you can ever think about Sherlock Holmes. And I think you mentioned on another podcast there's a bookshop in New York or something that has a Sherlock Holmes.
Yes, the Mysterious Bookshop
Right.
in New York, run by Otto Penzler, who is the one I think is the largest private collection of Sherlock Holmes
Right.
stories in the world. And I've been into Otto's the sort of back rooms to see. You're not allowed to touch anything,
Right,
But you can
right.
have a look, and it's awesome.
What those are original books?
Original, yeah, and
Wow,
the Strand
cool.
magazines and everything. It's
wow.
fantastic. And actually, funny enough, last year I was asked by the Conan Doyle estate to do an original Sherlock Holmes story. So me and a few other writers have written stories. It'll be out it's called Sherlock. It'll be out later this year, maybe November, from Simon and Schuster.
So what's the idea? You're going to rework the characters and new stories,
Yeah, new stories.
right?
So
Written in the style of Conan Doyle. Yeah.
kind of, but
Yeah.
it's a bit my style as well. So
Right.
I've gone sort of slightly contemporary, sort of Sherlock Holmes in the modern world type
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, right,
but other
okay.
people have gone traditional, and I haven't read all the stories yet, but
Right.
it'd be good.
That sounds good.
Can we talk about law and writing? Because
Yes.
we did law for quite a long, practice for quite a few years. We were doing the comedy on the side. Then it got to the point we really have to choose here because we were doing stage shows and radio shows and bits and pieces. When not enough to take all, we would go, can we make a career at this? At what point do you go, I don't have to be a solicitor anymore. I don't have to go to Strabane Court. And I don't have to go to
That was 2019. I
Oh, right.
stopped. So I was practicing. The first book was published 2015. I started writing 2013. And
Sorry, when did you become a solicitor first? Were you?
2003, I think.
All right,
But I
so you-
started before that. I was like a legal assistant and stuff
Right.
and paralegal for a year or two, and then qualified.
Well,
we had a bit of we were doing a comedy show on the radio,
Yeah.
as well as practicing during the day. So I was getting a bit confused because I was getting into the magistrate's court and going, Your Worship, I appear on behalf of the defendant and I can't speak until a green light comes on. It was getting a bit fraught.
It can
Were
do
you
that.
writing at the same time, or was it like some sort of conversion? 10 years into doing the law, you decided I'm going to start writing seriously, or
I always wanted to write. So before I'd done like a course in Cardiff, like a legal professional course in Cardiff, and that sort of put me off the law for a while. So I was working in call centres and doing, crap jobs, and I thought I'd better go into this, law thing because it's a real profession. But before that, I tried to do screenwriting. So I wrote a couple of screenplays and managed to get an agent, but never got anything sold. So I thought, well, this writing isn't going to work out. So I just focused on the law. And then about 2011, my mum passed away. She was the only person who ever encouraged me to write. And I thought I'll write a book for her. I'll have a go at this. And that was my first book, The Defence. Came out of that.
well. I think your mum died when you were about 30, is that right?
Yeah, 30, mid-30s, yeah.
Right.
And then I thought I'll have a go.
Right.
Well.
And I think I remember you talking about having a grief counsellor.
Yeah,
encouraged
I
you.
did. I went for a grief counselling, and she was a lovely woman, and I would recommend anyone do it. But I have sort of wanted to talk to her about stuff. I didn't want to talk about anything that I was supposed to talk about, me or anything like that. So I was always asking her questions. And I said, well, what do you do during, if you work during the day? She says, yes, but I can't tell you what I do. And I said, what do you mean? Are you in the civil service? Are you a spy? And she said, oh, no, I don't like to tell people because it upsets them. I said, well, come on, you can tell me. And she said, oh, I work in a funeral parlour. I said, my God, you work in a funeral parlour during the day and at night you do grief counselling for bereaved people?
Oh, brilliant.
How the hell are you still here?
That is the complete package.
That really is.
From embalming to how are you afterwards.
It's almost like a death wheel follows her about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was funny. But so I started writing after that, and then it was 2000. I'd written that book 13, which did very well. And I published another book, and that's the book after that, Twisted, got into the Sunday Times bestseller list. And
was 13 the first one then?
No, the first book's called The Defence.
Right.
And I'd written 3 books.
Right.
And
all Eddie Flynn? Or
all Eddie Flynn's. The first 3 ones were all Eddie Flynn's, and 13 was an Eddie Flynn as well. Yeah. But the first 3 books all got nominated for awards. Some won awards and got great reviews, but nobody bought them.
Right.
That was the problem. But then 13, it had a tagline on the cover: "The serial killer is now on trial. He's on the jury." Yeah. And people saw that, and there was no big advertising campaign or huge push from the publishers. It was mainly booksellers, and especially Waterstone's booksellers, that really thought, well, this is great, and I can. This is an easy sell, and it sold really well. So, and then the next book was the first book, was a bestseller. Wow. And then my wife said, you're working full time as a lawyer, you're writing at night for hours and hours and hours. Pick one because this is going to kill you. So I thought, okay, we're doing all right here at the book, so I'll have a go at this.
Right. We're friends with the husband of E.L. James.
Oh, right.
Niall Leonard.
Very good.
Niall Leonard, who is a writer himself and has written stuff. And Niall was the script editor on Two Ceasefires and a Wedding and lots of our stuff.
Right.
Give my head pieces.
Married Erica, and Erica started a bit of writing on the side.
Yes.
The way he tells it's quite funny. It's slightly different from your wife. He said it was the opposite. He said she was doing quite well at the writing.
Yes.
But not, but she came to him and said, I'm thinking of giving up my job. And it said, internally, I was going off for her. Going to work. I have bills to pay and kids going to university. But he of course said, "Oh, of course, yes, Erica, go for it." And he said about a year later, she was top of the New York bestseller list.
Yeah, wow. 50 Shades of
Erica,
Grey.
50 Shades of Grey. Erica Leonard James. So yeah, encourage the writers in your family.
Of course, why not? Because it can work out like that. Like that was a huge book.
You can always go back to the law. See, my ma didn't want me doing the acting and mucking about with them lads, and go. You can go back to the law, can't you?
Yeah. Gets a bit late now for
being a lawyer's a bit like being a priest. I mean, once you're made one, once your name's entered on the roll, you are one. You can't undo it.
No, you can't. You can't
have
undo
to go
it.
out of your way. You'd have to get yourself struck off or something.
Yeah, well, that can be arranged.
You can't do it. Like I used to say, I'd never be back in court unless it was in the dock.
Right.
So that was about 30 years ago. So I'm doing all right.
You're doing well.
Yeah.
There are a lot of writers and comedians who are ex-lawyers. There's quite a lot, and I think you made the point one time. I think the thing about being a lawyer is you meet people at a time that is very stressful in their lives.
It is.
They'll
That's
either
true. Yeah.
getting divorced or moving house, even extremely stressful, or wills and probate, or crime. So you get people's life stories, and you get people at the extremes of emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way? Is that what influenced you, or did you just? Eddie Flynn's obviously not a Northern Ireland solicitor.
No, he's not. No. But no, I think that's part of it. I think you're seeing a lot of actors and comedians and stuff, were in the law. I think you're getting used to telling stories.
Yeah. You're also performing in court as well.
You're performing in court and you're telling someone else's story.
Yeah.
And it's about how convincing can you tell that story and how much can you pull apart your opponent's story. Yeah. And it teaches you empathy as well. You have to put yourself in this person's shoes and see it from their perspective as well, and try and be impartial, and give them good advice too. But yeah, it's a storytelling thing. I always thought whoever tells the best story in court wins.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that. So
except
except if you got a few judges, it doesn't matter what you say.
We've heard it all. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hence O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascist cops making up
brilliant.
lies. Yeah, that's a far better story than.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of that works. So yeah, when I thought I did a course, I did an advanced advocacy course, and I learned more. I got really interested in advocacy and the history of advocacy and great advocates, and studied all that. And then I came up with the idea for this character. He's a
Right.
former con man.
Yeah.
Who is now a trial lawyer? Because all con men and trial lawyers have all the same skills: misdirection and persuasion, and
Yeah.
all of that. And it was a big inspiration was a lawyer called Clarence Darrow. You know Clarence Darrow.
Yeah.
Spencer Tracy played him
That's
in
right.
The
In
Wind.
the
and
Inherit the
he
Wind.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
he did big, huge trials.
Monkey
The Scopes trial, exactly.
Monkey.
Scopes monkey trial, and but he also did a lot of death penalty cases, and he was an amazing lawyer and very revered and civil rights lawyer as well. But and people thought he was a brilliant orator, but he also cheated a lot.
Was that right?
So one of his tricks, he mostly he did. Now nobody knows exactly how many he did because there's very scant records, but he did about 100 death penalty cases, mostly representing young African Americans in front of an all-white, all-male jury in the South,
Right.
50 years before the Civil Rights Act
Yeah.
in America.
Yeah.
So you're on a loser straight away. He lost 4 cases.
Wow.
And part of it was, yes, he's brilliant on his feet, but also he had all these wee schemes. So one of the things he did was he mostly wore a black suit and a white shirt. But when the prosecution were going to call their star witness, he would wear a beautiful white linen suit that day. Come into court, immaculate, gleaming white, and he'd sit down at the defence table. And he smoked these big foot-long Cuban cigars.
Right.
He never had any papers in front of him, never wrote anything down,
Wow.
really. The only thing he had in front of him was a big glass ashtray, perfectly clean, which somebody else carried in for him. So he would light a cigar and smoke away, and the prosecution witness is called. But what nobody knew was, before he went into court, he threaded a lady's hat pin through the centre of the cigar. So he's smoking away, and as the evidence against his client is getting worse and worse and worse from this witness, the ash in his cigar is getting longer and longer and longer. And he has it perched over his beautiful white suit.
And
And,
the
nobody
jury
in the
are
jury
paying attention.
is paying any attention to what's
Brilliant.
happening. They're just waiting and nudging each other. That's going to fall in his suit. That ash, how is that still there? He didn't tip it into the ashtray.
Whoa.
And they're just not paying attention at all. They're just staring at his ash in that cigar. And the hat pin acted like a girder because it was
Right.
hot
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
ash wouldn't fall. And nobody heard the bad evidence against his client. So I love things like that.
Right.
And I thought, well, there's a brilliant character in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a crowded market, crime.
Yes.
fiction. It's a very crowded market.
Very much.
I mean, I think that the tagline stuff works really well. But what distinguishes you? How do you think? What's the secret of your success that makes you? Obviously, the quality of the writing. It's a page. The ones I've read are complete page turners, and you go, what the hell's happening next? You really do kind of you get involved, and they're easy to read, and I mean that as a compliment.
Good,
I
thank
mean,
you.
they're genuinely easy to read. But what is the secret of your success? What marks you out from a dozen other crime writers?
I don't know. We all have our own individual things that we're good at, I've got better at writing characters, I think. And I think that's the thing. I like writing characters that people care about. And so that's the one thing I'm really invested in is getting the reader interested and emotionally invested in the characters and what's happening to them. So you can have all the great plots that you want, but if you don't care about
Yeah.
what's happening to the
Yeah.
characters involved in that story,
Yeah.
you're not gonna get involved in it.
Well, in a completely different genre or success of Give Me Headpiece was the characters. People loved the characters.
Yes,
and then
exactly.
They identified with them. So then you
Yeah.
can put the stupidest plots you ever imagined.
Exactly.
onto that. But do you, when you're doing your plots, which are very convoluted and complicated, do you sit down and go plot it first and go, A, B, C, D, E, then twist, and then E?
No, I have no idea.
You should start writing. And
I just start writing. I make it all up as I go along.
you do not.
I do.
You're spoofing dogs.
I'm really not.
You don't know what way it's going to end.
No, I
Do you
didn't.
not have a plot and a line and 30 stickies going, so and so? No?
No.
Really?
If I was reading Stephen King is the same principle.
Same principle, yeah.
He just goes outstairs, right?
There's lots of writers that do that. So you're discovering the plot as you go along.
Right.
And I stop at various points and think, right, what have I got written here and where can this go? So I'm stopping and thinking all the time.
But you not go up some blind alleys and go on.
Sometimes I get stuck. But thankfully, touch wood, very, very rarely.
Right.
But it was a book called 13. I was writing that and I got stuck in that. Because there's a bit where there's a serial killer has assumed someone else's identity. He's broken into their apartment, killed them,
Yes.
and he's going to pretend to be them.
Yeah.
And there's a knock on the door and a package is delivered. And this box is sitting in the apartment, and I didn't know what was in the box. So I was stuck for about 6 months. There was something really good in here. I have no idea what it is. So
And you open
occasionally
it up
things
and it's a box of Tito cheese and onions.
exactly, something like that. So I don't know. I'm usually get away with it. I can backtrack and see where I am, and sometimes you're going back a wee bit and then going forward.
Right.
So.
And you made the very wise decision not to set it in Strabane, but in New York, which
New
you'd never
York.
been to when you'd started writing these.
Yeah.
You'd never actually been to New York. You didn't know New York. You'd know.
Never been to America.
Never been to America.
Yeah.
But you set them all in New York.
Yeah,
Well, the guy who wrote Dracula had never been to.
that's really exactly.
The guy who done.
Well, I suppose everybody knows New York anyway. No, we were kind of.
This is it. That's the wee trick because most people have a
But,
good sense of New York anyway. If you've
And you
never
don't
been
need to
there.
describe it that much, do you?
No.
Has anybody gone, well, that book you're talking about, you can't go from Fifth Avenue to the 23rd and Madison and...
I have very good editors who will sometimes say, "Oh, actually, that's been changed now, and you can't go that way. You'd have to go a different way."
All right.
And that's okay. That's great. Sometimes I get caught out, but very rarely. Usually, I've got good editors and American copy editors who'll look at it and say, "Okay, we wouldn't say duvet. We would say comforter." There are little weird idiosyncrasies.
Comforter? I've never
Comforter,
heard
yeah. They don't. Very rarely don't they use the word duvet.
Right.
Most would say comforter.
Yeah, I
and
think
there's-
that's Obama got caught out, didn't he, during the Brexit debate?
Yeah.
Where he said that the British should be at the back of the queue if they didn't, vote to stay in the EU.
Yes.
And that's how he was caught out because Americans don't say queue.
Don't say queue.
They say line.
Line, exactly.
And because he said queue, obviously he'd been coached to say that.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
how Obama got caught out.
You get caught out because obviously a Brit had written it for him.
Yeah.
Back of the line, you see.
Yeah.
There's sort of little words. There's obvious ones like trunk and boot
Yeah.
for trunk and sidewalk and things, but there are some
Liquor store.
Liquor store. Some little and they don't say torch. They say flashlight and things.
Yeah.
But you get used to it. And I read loads of American crime fiction, so
Yeah.
I'm usually all right. Occasionally I'll get a little bit caught out.
And is all your work crime
Yeah.
stuff?
It's
No
all
ambition about anything else? This is your...
not
your niche?
really. No, I mean, I'm
I'm
not
pretty
gonna,
well, Damon. I'm
I
going to
think you should go
romantic
into-
fiction.
With the children's books, I think that's the way to go.
I think E.L. James's romantic crown is safe from me. But no, I mean, occasionally I do have bits of humour and stuff in the books, and
Yes.
I like making the odd wee funny line and stuff like that. It's good, but you have to balance that with tension and stuff like that. I write what I'm good at.
It's interesting though that you said that you started as writing screenplays.
Yeah.
Would you think that a lot of this stuff
Yeah.
is cinematic? This has cinematic possibilities?
Yes.
Is there not a couple
you-
of things bubbling under?
We've things bubbling, but we can't say, and we don't know if we're going to bubble up yet.
Right.
We're all very hopeful,
Okay.
but we'll just have to
Yes,
see.
well, we dipped a very small toe into the film world, and it's a pain in the hole. And nothing happens very quickly.
I'm getting that impression about everything,
Yeah, I
TV
know, I
and
know,
movies.
but do you enjoy writing,
I do.
or do you?
I
Because a lot
do.
of writers don't enjoy writing.
Yeah,
Go on.
I do. When it's going well, I do.
Yeah.
When it's not going well, I don't. It's
And
like,
when it's going well, can you will you go a 12-hour session? Go, I've got a great idea, and go, or do you go? I've 2 hours today. I'm going to fill the 2 hours and get up and feed the cat and do whatever.
usually, if I get a couple of hours a day, that's great. Sometimes if I'm behind on a book or I'm worried about it, I'll go away somewhere and I'll lock myself away. I'll do 10,000 words over a weekend or something like that.
You
But-
wrote a crime book.
Don't.
didn't know that.
I never even said it then.
You did write a crime
I
novel.
read your crime
I know.
novel. That was quite a good crime
It wasn't
novel.
bad. It wasn't great. There's bits of it.
It's no Steve Cavanagh, like.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
When was this?
Oh, way back in '99.
Our career was flying.
It actually was at that time. It was going really well. So I just thought, I'll write this thing about. It's kind of dated now.
Steve, will you read it for him? Will you?
Oh,
give it a few notes.
No, you got it in the render. No, it was kind of.
What was it called again?
Thing of the past.
Thing of the Past.
It was about
Revenge and
revenge,
Northern
murder.
Ireland.
Yeah, revenge, and Northern Ireland. So didn't make the wise decision to go to setting in New York.
Well, you see, there's lots of good, brilliant writers from here.
Yeah.
Setting
Yeah.
their stuff
There's-
here.
there's a
Brian
boom here,
McGilloway
isn't
and
there? Yeah.
Stuart
Yeah.
Neville and, loads
What's
of
going on
writers.
with this country? Crime writers, actors, comedians, everything flying from here.
Yeah.
Boxers, film point.
But yeah, a couple of good footballers and sticker players in the past as well.
Yeah.
So,
That's right.
yeah, no, I think we punch above our weight.
Yeah, genuinely.
Definitely.
And all sorts of things, you know.
Yeah, exactly. We always do very well in the boxing and shooting in the Olympics for some reason.
Yeah, with Carl Frampton in here, we're pretty good at that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
We're fighting. We lads, I'm going to fighting, yeah. So this is the latest one then. Sorry, which one's the latest one?
The Two Kinds of Strangers, the latest
Two
one
Kinds
that's
of
out
Strangers,
now.
and that's out in
That's out now in all good
Right.
bookshops.
On good bookshops.
right, and
And there's
Doing
one coming
okay?
in July. Yeah, that's doing great.
Yeah.
One of Us Is Guilty is out end of July. That's
Right.
the 10th Eddie Flynn book.
the 10th
Wow.
Eddie Flynn.
Yeah. They're not all Eddie Flynn's, all right, some standalone stuff
Yeah.
as well.
I think I remember hearing you say that you're a big fan of Stuart Lee.
Yeah, I do. I love that. I think he's an amazing
I
comedian.
love Stuart Lee.
You do?
I love Stuart Lee.
Have you seen him live?
I've seen him live on 3 occasions.
Right.
In the Waterfront Hall and the Opera House and stuff. Actually met him after he played the Waterfront Hall, which he hated.
Really?
Didn't like the
It's a
room. There was
huge
not a
room.
grooved room. It's not a
Yeah.
good room. And
not.
I persuaded him to go to the Opera House.
Right.
Yeah, and he went to the Opera House a year later. Yeah. Massive fan.
He's a brilliant
The
comedian.
comedy vehicle stuff I absolutely love.
Was fantastic. I've not seen his new show yet, but my wife's going to Edinburgh in the summer. I'm away on book tour, but she's going to go and see him. Stuart
Right.
Lee versus a Man Wolf.
So that's a way of leading into you like comedy. You like
Yeah, no, I
Did
love
you grow
comedy.
up watching any particular show? Any particular TV show
Any particular
that
ones?
inspired you to?
Local TV shows.
Well, I don't know. You say, Steve.
No, I remember actually seeing you in the group theatre.
Oh, you
Oh
did.
wow. That's
Yeah,
great.
but, yeah. And obviously watched, Four Weddings and a Ceasefire and Give My Head Peace. We loved it.
Right.
Nice. My dad's a huge fan.
Oh, your dad's a very wise man.
He's a very wise man indeed.
And a plumber.
Exactly.
The group theatre was a long time ago.
It was.
Lovely
It was.
wee theatre.
It was
Beautiful.
beautiful.
And they fucking turned it into a bar. It's a whole, yeah.
Completely boring, yeah.
Group theatre was attached to the Ulster Hall, 250-seater theatre, and you could hire it for 2p because it was council, wasn't it? at the
Yeah, that's
time,
right, that's
Damon.
right, yeah.
We started there. Oh, loved the group theatre.
It was
Loved the
brilliant.
group theatre.
We do different plays as well. It was great. Great week theatre. You get a different sort of. It wasn't like the theatre crowd. You
No.
would get lots of ordinary people.
Yes.
He wouldn't really. Be
Well,
big
it had
theatre goers.
the legacy of Jimmy Young and stuff like
Yes.
that. So it was a working class theatre. People came to
Yes.
see Jimmy from all sides and all of that.
Exactly.
It wasn't the Lyric or the Opera House. But it was,
I like the arts as well. That's going too.
yeah, the Arts Theatre. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, it's great.
But you like your comedy. You like.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Billy Connolly, I remember, loved Billy Connolly. Saw him in Dublin, and he was just fantastic. I was in university at the time, and there was about 10 of us wanted to go. So we couldn't all get tickets to go in the one night. So 5 of us went one night, and 5 of us went the next night. And then we all met up with them after they had seen it. We'd saw it first, and went out for the bar, and we were saying, God, when he said about this bit, wasn't that amazing? And he did this bit, and they're looking at us going, no, he didn't do that.
do any of that.
So, and we worked it out that he had done like 2 hour, 10-minute show, no interval.
Right.
And most of it was vastly different. The
Right.
beginning bit was kind of the same, and the ending was kind of the same. But there were vast swathes of it which were
Right.
just completely different.
Yeah.
The way modern comedians and stuff, they'll have something that's worked and worked and
Yeah,
worked,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they
Oh,
do
yeah,
their
yeah.
show verbatim, and nothing wrong with that. But Billy Connolly did it completely differently. He would just go out, and he would just be Billy Connolly for 2 hours, and people loved it.
Yeah.
It just blew me away. We come out, we were sore laughing.
Yeah.
Well, no, I love him and Bill Bailey as well. I've seen
Oh,
live
thank
Bill
you.
Bailey's
lot.
good.
Saw him
Yeah,
in the
he's good.
SSE recently.
Yeah, he was fantastic and said very nice things about my books and a TV show.
Oh,
as
did
well.
he?
Yeah, lovely
With a
man.
very intelligent man. Yeah.
Very intelligent man, yes. And a great musician.
Have,
Well, yeah.
have you got to that level now where you could sit back and not write another word for your ever?
No.
No?
No,
Really?
not yet. No, I like writing. I like I like
You would
putting
do
the
it
books
even if
out.
you don't have to.
Yeah. At the moment, I very much do have to. The Halifax Building Society might have a serious. If I said I'm retiring, no.
Right.
But I remember there's a brilliant Canadian thriller writer called Linwood Barkley, who was saying he had phoned his agent one day and saying, "Listen, how many books do I have to sell before I start phoning it in?" And he said, "Another 4." And every call, yeah, I know, another 4. So, not that he does ever phoning in, he's amazing, but very funny, man.
I was a huge fan of Douglas Adams,
Yeah. Hitchhiker's Guide.
Hitchhiker's Guide, Restaurant at the End of the Universe and all, but he went slightly mad.
He did.
Because his books were hugely successful, and then he got this massive book deal.
That's right. Yeah.
Massive book deal, and he worked out that if he spent a day writing, in the beginning he said that would earn him literally 10 grand for writing those words, and it blew his mind, and he couldn't write, and he had writer's block, and he came up with that famous saying about "I love deadlines, I love the whooshing sound as they go past." Do you ever feel like that? Are you ever blocked, or you just go for a walk and come back again and leave?
Sometimes you do get blocked. But no, it's not a serious thing. It's usually because I'm stuck or I'm not happy with what I've done before.
Yeah.
So the technique I have is just go for a walk and have a think. Because usually when you're doing something else, you'll figure out where you've went wrong. Or I go back and read what I've done before, and then you're almost like taking a run up, and then you're charging forward. So usually I'm able to get around it. It's now never blocked for like weeks normally, apart from that one occasion. But no, I'm usually all right. But yeah, Douglas Adams, he was, the comedy producer John Lloyd.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
wrote a lot of stuff with him and Hitchhiker's Guide and stuff like this, and he had to come in and help him quite a bit. And to no credit or money.
Was it all right?
As I believe
Right,
it, yeah.
Did John Lloyd produce the radio series? Did he?
I think
he did, yeah.
I think he did, yeah.
But I think he wrote
79?
most of it.
Was it all right?
Yes.
All right, okay.
Oh, right, okay.
But well, at least that's what he says. I've heard his talking about it bitterly a few times. But he's brilliant as well. I mean, a lot of the comedy shows, I love.
Yeah.
Have I Got News for You and all that he produced.
Is it nice being fairly famous but not being famous? And I mean that in a nice way, as in
Yes.
people go, Steve Cavanagh, and have you sold 5 million? You've sold, shed loads.
Yeah.
But you walk down the street, nobody's going to go, I'm on Steve Cavanagh,
No.
what about you, mate?
Nobody
Yeah,
does. Very,
you're
very
right.
rarely you'll get recognised.
Right.
Very rarely. But that's always
Is
nice.
that the way you like it?
Yeah, because it's like I remember Lee Child saying that being a writer is like show business for shy people.
Right.
Because you've all the benefits of it, but
Yeah.
nobody, nobody bothers you. Nobody's in your hedge with a camera or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's totally fine, and you can.
Nobody bothers you
Yeah.
unless you crash in the snow and you injure you break your eggs and you're famous. You're your most favourite fan.
Oh, and a
Yes.
woman.
Thank you.
Yes, you do. Well, that's the thing. Sometimes you do have
Nearly
that.
done.
Yeah. Stephen King's Misery. I'm your #1 fan. That's one of my favourite books. I love that book.
Yeah, it's great.
And the film is brilliant as well.
Brilliant.
William Goldman wrote the script. But no, I have had a few. You always have a few weird things with fans. Remember, it was last year. I was in Birmingham doing an event. Because I do a tour
Right.
in the UK and then I go different countries. But I was going to this event and there was like a big guy in the store sort of looking at me, and I was waiting on the lift to go up, and he said, "Come over," and he said, "Are you Steve Cavanagh?" I said, "Yes." I said, "I'm here to see you for the event." I says, "Oh, brilliant. Hope you have a great time. Thanks for coming." He says, "I've never been to a book event before." I says, "Well, look, hope you enjoy it. Great. Have a good night." So I went up, did the event, and then signing books after, and he was at the very end of the queue. I thought, right, okay, that's fine. Hope he had a good night. And then he comes over, and most people in Waterstones, if they're getting their book signed up, like a post-it note on the cover of the book with the correct spelling of their name.
Yeah, yeah.
There's nothing worse, Somebody,
right.
you to Tracy, and then you've done Tracy with no E, and it says,
Yeah.
no, it's Tracy with an E. You think, oh, for God's
Me of
sake.
MEADHB.
Yes.
Oh, you left out the father there, you boss.
Exactly. So he had a post-it note, but nothing written on it. And he gave me the book, And he says, I didn't want to put down the dedication because I didn't want to embarrass the staff. I says, right, well, do you want to dedicate it? He said, yeah. He says, can you just make it out to Big Sexy? And I said, no problem, of course, that's fine. So I opened it up, too big, and then I stopped, and I went, is this like for your partner or something? He said, no, it's for me. I said, fair enough, no problem. Too Big Sexy, best wishes, Steve Cavanagh. And I sort of tell everyone about this now because I have a horrible feeling that he's at home, you know, or he's people around his house, and he said, yeah, went to that Steve Cavanagh event one time, and lovely fella. But I said in the book, can you make it out to Graham? And I wrote Too Big Sexy. So watch it, man.
Well, at least he bought the book. These are available on Spotify and stuff as well.
Spotify, yeah. And if you're a Spotify premium member, you can get you can get an audiobook free every month, basically.
Who reads your books? Do you get Americans to read them? Or
Right. A lot of for different books. So for the series, it's Adam Sims, who's an American actor, who reads them, and people really love him.
Right.
He's sort of become Eddie Flynn for a lot of people.
Is that right?
He does a great job. So yeah, I'm happy with Adam. He does brilliant.
Right.
And for I do standalone books. They'll give me a choice of readers, and I'll pick one. Usually, if it's a standalone book, I'll try and get a female reader to change it up a bit.
That's me being out again. I was trying
Yeah.
I was pitching for a gig there, Steve. You know, come
Well,
on.
you never know.
When you do set one in Strabane, no, actually, no, I can't even do a Strabane.
Can't do a Strabane accent.
Set one in North Belfast. I'll give that.
Okay. Bear that in mind.
So you go around the world then basically, and because 40 different languages these are sold in. So you go to Germany, you go to Australia, you go to America, and like launch these. And
I do. Yeah, I've never been to Australia though, but I don't know. There's too many big snakes and spiders and stuff in Australia. I think for me, it's rather a long way to go and sign books. But you never know. Maybe one day. But yes, I go to Europe and America. I go to America once a year and do a little tour. Depends how much time I've
And
got.
you get dropped in any of those weirdy convention things? Any of those ones?
Yeah, I do lots of festivals and stuff, but yeah, I've done the big convention in America once, BoucherCon, which is huge. There's like 20,000 people or something like that. It's massive. And huge, big, vast hotels. Like they have hotels there you can get lost in very easily. Go wandering around for half an hour and you've no clue where you are. You know, they have like, convention rooms, that are like size of aircraft hangars.
Right.
So, but that's always fun. I always love going to America.
Do you enjoy going to America?
Yeah.
All that side of it.
I do. I like talking to readers and booksellers and the weird and wonderful people you meet.
Are there any Flynn fan clubs and things?
Well, I'm sure there are. Not that I very much leave that to whoever wants to do that. But yeah, there's Eddie Flynn fans all over the world and different things. And book clubs that read the books regularly.
But, can you read your own stuff yourself? Are you good at reading? Because I did a thing a long time ago for Waterstones where 10 writers were reading their own books and poetry and stuff, and 9 out of 10 of them were fucking dreadful. And couldn't get a word across. Apart from Bernard McClaverty, who was brilliant, and Bernard McClaverty, famous author. Bernard, and I said, Bernard, you were the only one who could held it. I said, that's because I used to be a teacher. He says, I used to be, so I can tell people, but there were certain people who read their own stuff in a flat monotone. You go, these people have no idea what the hell they've written. They just couldn't get it across. But being an ex-lawyer, I suppose you could get it.
I generally don't do readings.
Don't read them, right?
Because I try to avoid it. Sometimes, people insist that you read. So like when I go to Germany, they insist that I read.
Right.
But it's weird. It's different over there. The Germans love authors reading. So I'll read for like 3 minutes. And depending on where I am in Germany, if I'm in a big city, most people will understand what I've read out. Yeah. But then I have a translator who will just read in German for like 20 minutes.
Right.
And it's a great gig for me. I just sit there and smile. This is easy for me. But they love it. But I always say I don't read because the books are written in an American accent.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to put on a fake American accent. And it doesn't sound right in my accent.
Right.
So I generally don't read. Right. I'll just go and talk nonsense and tell stories and stuff.
certain people say, "Oh, he's written. How many books have you written now?"
This summer will be my 12th one coming out.
Couldn't be arsed reading 12. Which one's the best one?
You can start anywhere.
I can start anywhere. They're not a series. They're all standalone.
They all work as standalones. They're all written that way because there's lots of people in books that I want to read, but people have said, well, now it's only when you get to the fourth one that start getting good. The first three are all right, but you have to read the first three or you won't understand the fourth one.
You go.
And that puts me off a bit. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but just me personally.
Yeah.
So these ones you can pick them up anywhere, anyone you want.
So do you get to relax as a writer? Do you
Permanently relaxed?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's a day job, but not a day job.
Yeah. Which comes with its own problems. Because people that know me say, "Oh, Steve's not working. Can you come and do this thing, or can you come and do this and help me move this sofa?" But I do usually have people mostly leave me alone for a while.
So do you have like a 5,000 words? You have to do that kind of Orwell thing. You have to sit and write 5,000 words just to keep yourself going, or is it?
No, although that's a better way to write. Like John Connolly, who's a brilliant writer and a friend. He'll do 1,000 words a day, no matter what. Get 1,000 words a day, and that's why he's much more prolific than I am. He can write 2 books a year, 3 books a year.
What's the length of an average book there?
About 100,000 words.
100,000, right.
So, in 3 months, 4 months, you have a very good first draft, and then you can redraft it. Whereas I'm very much, whatever I get done that day, I get it done. If I don't manage to get to it that day, I don't manage to get to it. Because there's lots of other, I have kids and stuff, and a dog and all that sort of stuff.
I was going to say, like kids are all trying to concentrate and focus. That must be.
It can be difficult. It can be difficult. So I'm my most productive if I'm in a coffee shop and I'm sitting tapping away at a laptop because there's noise and stuff going on around, but it's nothing to do with me.
Yes.
And nobody wants me to do anything. And there isn't a dog with a ball. Exactly.
So I've just given your child an age, 24 or something.
So I don't have to take anybody anywhere. I'm here and I can work away happily that way.
Right. Do you do football?
No, not anymore. My footballing career's behind me.
Right. Do you support football? Do you like
you know what? I used to be a big United fan, but when I started writing, that was the one thing that went.
Right.
I had to make sacrifices, so I didn't watch. I sort of fell out of the way of football.
Okay, I'm just saying because I support Cliftonville and we need a multi-millionaire investor. We could do with a couple of $1 million. Have you ever want to go and see a local football match? Give me a shout.
Right, you can take me, fleece me.
Yeah. So how do you relax then? You go to gigs, music,
You know what? I hardly go anywhere. I watch TV or I read or stuff like that. Or not really relaxing or go to the gym, but I don't really, because we're out in the country now.
All right.
So, but we're moving back into Belfast next year, hopefully. So I'll be able to go and do more things then and go to pubs and stuff and go out with mates.
You're moving to the big smoke. I'm giving a trade secret away here because our previous guest was Saoirse Eastwood MP.
Yes.
You met downstairs.
Yes.
Going, Saoirse. You knew her.
She's
your MP.
Great. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Very good, very hard-working.
Right. Yeah. So you live out in the country now, but you're coming back to the big smoke.
I am. It's been too long.
Actually, you know what? You should get Saoirse to read your books. She'd be really good. You never stop. She could read that in about half an hour.
Half an hour easily.
Yeah.
Steve, who are your favourite other crime writers that you like? Are you like us? We kind of like. I like comedy. I like a lot of comedians, and I'll do lots of gigs with it. But there's a bit of me going, that's brilliant, he's shite. You read crime novels and go, that's right. Who's Wick and who's brilliant?
Who's
Wick?
What I would say is it depends. There's writers that are brilliant at some things and writers that are maybe not so good at other things.
Right.
Put it like that. But they all have their own skills and strengths. So, for example, Dan Brown, who's one of the second most successful author of the last 50 years, gets terrible reviews, God love him, about his writing, and terrible abuse. I think his books are brilliant, and I run through them, can't put them down, because he's one of the world's greatest storytellers. But he will get bad reviews for the the sentences and stuff. There was one review that said, this man, in this 500-page novel, this man fails to write a good sentence, even by accident. Which is something that always struck me with absolute horror. You gotta hope I never get a review like that. But, so he's not so great at flowery prose.
Yeah.
But God, you can't put his book
Yeah, you're
down.
engaged.
So all writers, will have a skill at something.
Right.
So and if you lean into that, usually
Right.
that's the way to do it. And he's the perfect example of it. But there's no, it's so hard to get published these days.
Yeah.
And anyone who does, obviously, there's something really great going for them.
Yeah.
And there's brilliant writers working
And I
today.
love physical books as well. I don't,
Yeah, me too. I can't really do Kindles and stuff.
Yeah.
We don't take them in. If you read something on a screen, it doesn't go into your brain the same way that reading in physical media
And they're also
does.
cheating us now. They're gonna, if you've got a Kindle of a certain age, that's it. You
What do
can't
you
get any new books.
is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Plus,
you
when
don't have to
when-
pack 20 books, you're going on holidays.
Well, that's the
That's
plus.
true.
That's the
That's the only
plus. Yeah.
Plus, you never own the book. If you buy
right,
a
that's
book
right.
on Kindle, you're buying a license to have that book, and they can say at any time, Mr. Bezos can say at any time, I want my books back, and all your books go.
I heard a terrible thing from Glenn Patterson, the writer,
Yeah.
that if you're on Kindle and you start reading the book, and you give up after 10 or 15 pages, that Kindle or Amazon or whatever, even though you bought it, won't give you the full. They're now saying they won't give you the full money because you didn't complete the book.
It depends on what
That's-
type of how it's published in Kindle. With my books, you pay the money. You don't like a book, I've got your
Oh,
money.
shit.
That's the way to do it.
But seriously, that's right. You said right.
Yeah,
Okay.
apparently so. Apparently, they were in. Maybe he was saying they were going to introduce this. That if you didn't complete the book,
Yeah, the
writer then didn't get
Right.
the
There's a
credit or
thing-
whatever they were supposed to
Okay.
get.
Yeah, there's a thing called Kindle Unlimited, I think it is, and you can get basically you pay a subscription, and you can get whatever books you want, and there's some books in there you'll want to read at least, and but if you don't complete that book, or if you complete a certain percentage of it, the publisher will get a fee. But if you don't complete all of it, they won't get all of the fee.
Yeah.
Mr. Bezos knows where it's,
Yeah.
he knows how to make money.
What a lovely man he is.
No, delight.
Nearly as nice as Elon Musk. Elon Musk. Steve, we wish you all the very, very best with your latest Two Kinds of Stranger. I'd thoroughly recommend the two books I read were brilliant, page turners, and better than Dan Brown.
Oh, well, thank you very
But,
much. Dan
that's
Brown would
not-
say, and the world at large would say different, please, but thank you.
Steve, thank you very much for being on the Give Me a Head podcast. If you enjoyed that, like and subscribe and keep supporting the Give Me a Head podcast. In the meantime, Steve Cavanagh, buy his books. Another man to be proud of from Northern Ireland. Steve Cavanagh, thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you, folks.